Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. If
We're all-
we're-
You're controversial, that's that question.
From now on, I give you permission. It is socially acceptable in a Keller Williams training room or any meeting. If somebody asks if you've read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it's socially acceptable to lie and say you've read it even if you haven't. It's controversial, but yeah. So I'm gonna ask one more time. By a show of hands, who's read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent? Oh, good, everyone. Fantastic. Over the next 50 minutes or so, we're gonna talk about this one. So we're gonna talk about how to use technology properly, not hide behind technology, to automate your business and follow the models of The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. For those of you that have read this book, why is it so important that everyone else reads The Millionaire Real Estate Agent? Who can tell me why it's so important that everyone reads this book?
I'll take it.
Fantastic.
I'll take it, you do it.
Okay.
Okay. Because it shows you systems and models to follow
Yes.
that are clear, concise, and work.
Great answer. It shows you systems and models that are clear and concise that work.
So what I was gonna say is a pathway to success.
Oh, great, I
Bingo.
like that.
Like,
I couldn't have said it better myself. This is the model and systems to run a wildly successful real estate business. Now, on the title, it's called a Millionaire Real Estate Agent. What we know is that there are models and systems in here to be a $500,000 real estate agent, to be a $250,000 real estate. You don't have to have a desire of making $1 million a year in real estate income to build a massively successful business following these models. I'm gonna give you a page number. Those of you taking notes, page 134. If you haven't read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, or you haven't read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book in some time, I'd highly encourage you to flip to page 134 and start reading for about 33 pages. And what you're going to find in those pages are my favorite pages of this entire book. Page 134 on for about 33 pages. We're gonna talk about the subject on those pages in this area. Now, if you've read this book and maybe you read it 3 years ago, go back to your copy, dog ear, page 134, and reread that page, even if you don't have time to read all the other pages. Page 134 talks about our number one job as real estate agents, and that is to generate mind share with everyone in your world. There's this idea around mind share from social sciences that says that our human brain is an inadequate vessel of information. In other words, we suck at remembering things. Amen? And we're not good at it. In fact, we're worse at it today than we were 5 years ago. Part of that is to blame of technology. And the solution is also technology. Because technology allows us to remember the things that we need to do and who we need to talk to at the times we need to talk to them. And that's what it's all about. Last thing I'm gonna have you do is go ahead and pull up your phones right now and take a picture of this slide. Zoom land, do the same thing. Take a picture of this slide. After you take a picture of the slide, I want you to open up the picture in your camera roll. And I want you to figure out how to open that QR code from the picture.
Oh.
Because most people just scan the QR code and then hit the link.
Yeah.
Have you ever scanned a QR code and then like the next day you go looking for whatever it is you scanned and it's nowhere to be found? It's gone. Well, go into your camera roll now and figure out how to open that QR code from that image. I'm not even gonna give you tips. I bet you figure it out.
Wow.
You
copy the link and put it in Google?
What's that?
Copy the
Gotta open it.
link.
You do that, so
Push
do
on
that
that
too.
too, hold it down. Push on it.
Okay, who was today years old when you found out that you could scan a QR code from a photo on your phone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Success. We're learning stuff. You're welcome. What you have in this document, in this QR code that you scan is what you have is a nice clean version of everything you're gonna see on the screen. When I travel all around the country teaching really awesome stuff to really awesome people like all of you, what I see is people pull out their phones all the time to take pictures of whatever they see on the screen. And then you don't have to do that. You have a nice clean PDF of all the really valuable stuff we're gonna be talking about. Is that helpful? Fantastic. All right, in our time, we've got 5 major things we're gonna talk about. The first is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Lead Generation Model. This comes from page 143 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Then, of course, we're going to talk about the 36 to convert. That comes from page 145 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Then we're gonna talk about smart plans. Adding smart plans, the right smart plans to your library to take advantage of that. Of course, if you use smart plans using Keller Williams technology or command, you need to add contacts to the smart plans, and there are some best practices with this. Believe it or not, some people do this incorrectly. Myself included, I've made mistakes using smart plans in command in my business, and I want you to learn from the mistakes that I've made. After that, we're gonna close off this class with ahas, because every single Keller Williams training needs to have some ahas, those light bulb moments. What's the one thing from this presentation that you're gonna turn around and leverage in your business to love your business and life a little bit more? I've got this really important thing we need to talk about before I get into the training. It is imperative, of course, we're gonna talk about in this class, calling people when technology tells you it's time to call someone. When you're calling people for business, it is imperative that you follow the TCPA guidelines, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. In other words, I'm going to interpret this, but don't take this as law advice. If you don't have permission to call them, one of 2 things needs to be true. 1, you don't call them. Or 2, better yet, you confirm that they're not on the do not call registry, then you call them. When you don't do this, it can cause catastrophic damages to your business. Just don't play there. You don't want to do that. This is why I believe, and so many of us at Keller Williams believe, that there is so much gold in the database that you already have, the people that you already have permission to talk to, focus on that. Because it works. There's so much business. Now, I'm not saying that cold calling can't be really beneficial for your business. What I'm saying is you got to do it safely, following the TCPA. Nice thing is, in the slides that you just downloaded with that QR code earlier, there's this QR code, and if you scan that, you get all sorts of really good information about the TCPA as well. Couple of ground rules before we get into the meat of what we're going to talk about. One thing's for sure, for those of you that have ever taken a presentation or a class with me before, I love questions. If you have questions, do not hesitate to raise your hand, say, Zach, I got a question, or hey, you, or just blurt out your question. Because here's what we know. When you have a question, somebody else in the room has a question too, and they probably wanted to ask it or thought they needed to ask it or didn't even know that they had that question. Which goes right into the next one, play all in. If somebody has a question and you have an answer, by all means answer it. I'm not the only expert in the room. Answer the questions, be a part of the conversation so that we can all learn from each other. None of us are as smart as all of us put together. And be ready for those ahas at the end. And then my last rule, it's kind of the most important, it's my favorite rule, have fun. When you talk about technology, it is almost inhumane not to stick your head out the window every time, so often and just go. Because if we talk about technology for an hour and we don't have a little bit of fun, it sucks for everybody. And so we're gonna giggle a little bit, we're gonna have some fun. Well, let's get right into it. Who recognizes this? Cool, a bunch of people in the room, that's awesome. This is page 143 from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. This is the lead generation model that we know works really well in your business. I'll explain it to you just really quickly. This is what's called a sales funnel. Often the new term is click funnel. It's all the same thing. The idea here is you have a funnel, and at the top, you have prospecting and marketing. There's all sorts of different ways to prospect and market to shove new leads, new contacts into your funnel. As you can see inside the funnel, you have leads and contacts. And then, of course, your goal is to connect with the leads and cultivate those relationships as you get deeper into the funnel. When you cultivate those relationships, get into the right dialogue with the right people, those turn into appointments. Appointments turn into contracts. Contracts turn into closings. Now, when a closing happens, does the contact or the lead fall out of this model? What happens? That's right, there's that arrow. It goes right up to the top and we continue cultivating that. So we're gonna talk about how to automate this entire process. Now, the interesting part is this actually, if you were to flip to page 143 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent right now. Wow, that was fast. It actually looks a little different than what you see on the screen. What you see on the screen is the revised version of the lead generation model from page 143. You probably have heard they're releasing a new revised version of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. This is the new revised version. And it's inevitable. I get this question all the time when I talk about the new version. Zach, when is it coming out? Who would like to know when it's coming out? Good. The answer is Sunday. You're welcome. I know that to be true. Here's what I know, is that not much has changed in the revised version of the MREA. This book is now it's 20 years old. 2 decades old, and what they found is that the models and systems of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent haven't really changed very much in 20 years. Some of the models, some of the images and things like that have changed a little bit. Now, speaking of change, what you have on the screen is the lead generation model from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. This is a little different. I'm gonna let your eyes adjust because it's a little different. There's the original one. What's different on this one?
Command.
Winner. What you have is ultimately all of the applets inside of Command, Keller Williams technology, layered on top of the lead generation model. If this is the models and systems to run a wildly successful business, Command is literally the only technology out there that was built to follow these models. We're gonna focus on the middle section, the cultivation, the middle of the funnel, captivating the conversations that we need to have. We're gonna talk about how to automate those conversations. And we do that through what's called a 36 touch. Pop quiz, in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, how many times should you touch your database appropriately? How many times should you touch your database a year?
36.
According to the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, how many times?
72. 27, 15.
No, 105.
32.
It's 33.
Other. That's close.
It's called the 33 touch. And when they wrote the book, they said that the average of the top agents were touching their database 33 times a year. This is one of the things that's changing. It's becoming 36 to convert instead of a 33 touch. And there's 2 main reasons behind that. One, I asked the co-author of the book, his name is Dave Jenks. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. But before he passed away, I asked him where the number 33 came from. And he said, Zach, quite frankly, we used it because it looks good on paper. The number 33 is something people can connect with. It's a number that nobody forgets. Turns out people do. And it's just, what we found is that it was somewhere in the ballpark between 30 and 70 touches a year. And so we landed on 33 because it looked good on paper. Well, what they learned after putting out the book is that it got really convoluted for people to keep track of the 33 touches a year that we should be doing with our database. So why did they change it to 36? Who can tell me that? Or just take a guess. What's that?
It was like by 12.
Oh my gosh, that's so right. 36 is divisible by 12. What does that mean? It's 3 touches a month. It's this simple. If you just figure out a way to touch your database 3 times a month, you are following the model of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent when it comes to lead generation. 3 touches a month. We're going to show you how to automate those 3 touches. But before we do, we need to understand what constitutes or what we should use as touches in that system. On the right-hand side of the screen, you see the 36 touch and several of the touches that should be involved in that. First, let's talk about the one on the left because they're all on the screen. The 19 to convert. This is the new model from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent that we found to work best for converting or connecting with leads and turning them into contacts. It is important to note, what's the difference between a lead and a contact? Who can give me their definition of a lead as opposed to a contact? There's no wrong answers. There's a lot of definitions out there. Yes.
I need somebody that
somebody may have referred to you, but you haven't talked to them, contacted when you've actually had a conversation.
Fantastic. So a contact is somebody that you've had a conversation with, you've talked to them, they've talked to you. And a lead is somebody that you've captured their information because somebody else asked it to you, or maybe like an online lead. So this is somebody that you maybe have been trying to reach out to, but they haven't spoken back to you. Can we agree that that's a pretty good definition of what a lead is versus a contact?
Yeah.
In fact, that is exactly the definition according to the new revised Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Now, there are plenty of people out there that say a lead is somebody that's really ready, willing, and able to buy a house or sell a house in the next 90 days, 6 months, a year. That's a great definition as well. But for all intents and purposes, what we're going to talk about here is that a lead is somebody that you captured their information, but you haven't talked to them yet. Your goal is to put them into a 19 connect. And I know that it says 19 touches in a year. But what I want you to do is just take that and break it down to 90 days. When you get a new lead, that is gold, and your goal is to connect with that lead and turn them into a contact. So over the course of 90 days, you want to touch them in all the ways that you see on the screen. There should be 4 calls. It says quarterly, but in the first 90 days, you should try to call them at least 4 times. Now, if you don't have permission to call them, you need to check the do not call registry to make sure they're not on that do not call registry to abide by the TCPA. You should also send them a whole bunch of emails in the first 90 days, 12 in fact. That's a lot. It's just touching in, sending them value. We'll give you a bunch of different samples on things to use with that. You should give them some type of promotional items, mail them something, stop by, knock on the door and give them something. These are your branded and promotional items. It could be a pen, it could be a letterhead, it could be anything that has your brand on it. It could be a CMA, a comparative market analysis with your brand on it. These are promotional items to stay in touch with people or stay in front of them. Who's got like their favorite promotional item to give away? Like, let's share. Who's got a great promotional item that's got your brand on it that you give to people, whether they're a new lead or a contact in your database? Nobody. Awesome. This is great. Steve.
I do give out the 10 things not to do, in reference to when you're getting a loan.
Oh,
And
cool.
here's my picture and what have you, said 10 things not to do.
Fantastic. That's great. There's value in it.
Yes.
And it's got your contact information. They might reference back to it over and over again. I love that.
My time.
Your time. What a gift. So selfless. I love it.
It's always fun.
I am a little emotional. I'm wrong answer. Who else has something? This one's really popular and I'm surprised no one said it. Refrigerator magnets.
I would think about
You know how cheap it is to make a refrigerator magnet promotional items? Like 20 cents. You can go to Staples, better get go online and find like a 500 pack of little magnets with stickers on it. Take your business card, put it on the magnet and hand it out at every single open house. It's incredible how many top agents get business over and over and over again from people that literally just have a refrigerator magnet with their business card on it that they got at an open house, or they got in the mail. Works.
That magnet with the calendar is even better.
Wow, Stephen, thank you for bringing that up. Calendars, people love having calendars, even though we have calendars in these supercomputers that we carry everywhere with us, having a calendar on the side of the fridge, or on the front of the fridge. And it's a touch that can happen every single year, absolutely.
I send them out every New Year's.
You do, perfect, a new calendar for the following year.
Yeah.
Yep. Have you ever forgot to send it out? Okay, I've had this happen once in my business when I was selling before, where I didn't send out a schedule that I sent out. Now, it wasn't a calendar, I'll explain more in a second. But I forgot to do it one year. My business partner and I both, we just dropped the ball and we didn't send it. You know what happened? We got about 20 calls about a week into the year saying, where's the calendar? Where's the schedule?
Right.
And when that happens, you know you're onto something. You're giving them something of value. Here's what we did. We took a calendar, but we layered it. Now, our calendar was big. It was about 12 by 10 magnet. And that calendar had a schedule layered on top of it. It was the schedule in our farm area of when trash days were, when recycling days were, because in our area, it's every other week for recycling. Is that here in most of your guys' areas as well? Garbage every week, now it's green waste every week, and it's recycling every other week. Let's be honest, by show of hands, who here has had to walk out to your front yard to look at all your neighbors to figure out if there's recycling? Now, the interesting part is you can go onto the garbage website, your refuge company, and you can like subscribe to their calendar and it puts it into your smartphone, which is pretty handy. But I had plenty of sphere of influence and farm that just didn't do that. And so we literally just took this refrigerator magnet, but it was huge. Now, if it was massive and on their fridge, that might be weird. So you know what we did? We'd send it out and then we would call everybody and we'd say, you're gonna be receiving a magnet in the mail. And sometimes people would be like, we already got it. Be like, great, you're probably wondering why it's so big. What I want you to do is go up to your garage right after our phone call and put it on your garage door. Or the exterior door, because they're all metal, exterior doors of all of our residences, put it there so that wherever you go to the garbage, it's always right there. Now, every time they walk into the garage and get into their car, they see your brand. That's smart. And guess what happens when they end up selling that house and then somebody buys the house? Your branding is already inside the garage.
Golden.
It has almost nothing to do with technology, but it's just using promotional items to have the conversations. Okay, the center part there is one cement event. It's almost always a belly-to-belly event, a client event, if you will, or a high-impact touch where you actually cement the relationship between lead and contact. Once they become a contact, they move into that 36 to connect, where you saturate their brain waves with your messaging. And that's where we're gonna really focus on our automation today. A part of that is a quarterly call. We need to be calling our database every 90 days. We all know that, except some of us forget to do the calls. So we're gonna leverage technology to remind us when to call people, and we're going to break it down to where you don't get overwhelmed by all of these phone calls. Then you have 26 touches and 36 to convert. Those are emails with some item of value. Now, some of you might be thinking, holy cow, 26 emails a year is a lot. It's not too much. It is a lot. We need to automate that. You want to stay in people's inboxes on statistically at least 26 times a year. We have something called the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture inside of Command. A lot of people know it exists, not enough people actually use it the way it's designed. That literally will just put an email in their inbox every 2 weeks with a market snapshot on what's going on in their neighborhood or the neighborhoods that matter to them. It works and it automates it. Then you have 2 events, get-togethers. Let's talk for a second. What are some great client events or get-togethers you've done to invite people to get together?
Trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat is a perfect idea because we have one coming up here.
I did an ice cream event yesterday and had about 60 people come through.
Fantastic. I wish the weather was a little hotter for that. It was
actually
really nice.
It's too hot people don't hang out.
I know, yeah. Did it work out?
Was that?
Did it work out?
Yeah, like I had about 60 people.
60?
60.
Fantastic. How much did it cost to host that event? If you don't mind me asking?
$120.
$120 to touch 60 people.
Yeah.
Focus.
You call Post Town,
Uh-huh.
worked out a deal with them.
Yep,
Told them, hey, we're gonna have an influx of people coming through.
perfect.
But the important thing is all the touches that go into it before. And then the marketing that goes into it,
Mhm.
and all the touches that happen afterwards.
That's right. Calling everyone and saying, oh man, it was so great seeing you.
Yeah.
And one of the great people, I'm sorry, I missed you. Bingo. I saw you across the way and I didn't get a chance to connect. Thank you so much for.
Yeah.
And then I would use that touch to also ask this a very important question. If I were to host another event, what would you like to attend? And then literally crowdsource the wisdom from your own database and find out what it is that they want. What are some other ideas of different events that you think they might come up with, or you've heard about or are doing in your business?
Shred day as well.
Shred Day is a great one, absolutely. People are looking for an opportunity to get rid of documents they know need to be shredded. E-waste goes right along with that oftentimes. What are some other ones?
We did a wine tasting night.
Day drinking, oh, it was night event.
Yeah.
Cool. But wine tasting is just day drinking. Everywhere else in the country, they call it day drinking. Northern California is wine tasting. I could say that was really good too. That's awesome. Was it a good event?
Yeah, that was a big one though.
That one cost more money.
That was, yeah, a few thousand.
Some people hung out a little longer.
People hung out.
They said things that they wouldn't have said in a nice street photo,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
in a good way, and maybe in a bad way. But yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. What else? Nobody in Zoom land has given us an idea. It's embarrassing. Steven, you were saying something?
I also do, home buying seminars.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Quarterly, so.
So you're calling your database and saying, I'm posting a home buying seminar. I'm not sure it's for you, but there's probably someone you know that's interested. There's a book out there, you might write this down if you haven't read it, it's called Exactly What to Say, by Phil M. Jones.
Yeah.
He has these magic phrases. Not sure if this is for you. But fill in the blank. Things work. All of a sudden, people are like, why? You don't think it's for me, but I think it's for me, and then they go up.
Oh, I was gonna say that they also sell flashcards.
Flashcards, yes,
Yeah,
for the exactly what to say,
What to
role play.
say, yeah.
So good. Here's one no one has said yet, movie night. Here's what you do, you reach out to your local movie theater and you say, hey, I wanna rent out an entire theater one night. And they're gonna be like, awesome, here's how it works. And usually most theaters say that you need to buy about 70% of the tickets in order to reserve the whole theater. And that can cost a little bit of money. Now, here's what I'd recommend. Talk to your vendor partners and split this event with them so that they can invite their clients to an event and it might not cost quite as much money. Here's what you do. You pick the movie that you believe most of your database would be interested in watching. Family movies work great. Recently, Inside Out 2 came out. And that was a fantastic one to do for clients. And what you do is you call up your entire database and say, hey, I've rented out the entire theater for Inside Out 2. I bet you've been wanting to see that movie. And they go, yep, my grandkids have. And you're just like, awesome, the tickets are free. All you gotta do is come to XYZ Main Street and come for the 7 o'clock showing. The entire theater is just my clients, my friends, people I care about. Show up, have conversations. And it's all about the touches before and the touches after. And then in the 36 to convert, you have 4 touches. Those calendar magnets still work. Those are yearly. Pens, letterhead, sticky notes, things that people use on a regular basis. These are all included in it. However, you're here to learn how to automate it. And so we're going to talk about automating this process. The first is the quarterly call plan. There's a smart plan inside Command called the quarterly call plan. If you're not using it, get over yourself and start using it. Now, if you are already calling your entire database or all the people you need to call every 90 days, keep doing what you're doing. You do you, boo. Like, don't mess with a good thing. It works. Now, if you're not calling the people when you should be calling, use the quarterly call plan. Don't make the same mistake I made though. Here's what we see a lot of people do when they first start using the quarterly call plan. They take 2,000 contacts in their database and they put them all on the quarterly call plan today. And then guess what happens tomorrow? You get 2,000 tasks to call 2,000 people tomorrow. And then if you're anything like me, you go into your command and if you see 2,000 tasks to call 2,000 people, your heart starts racing, you start hyperventilating, you end up just shutting down and you don't call anybody. Or you call 4 people and then the next day you're just overwhelmed and you don't call anybody else. So here's what happens inside command. What you're gonna do is you're gonna select a specific group of people that you wanna stay in touch with. And you're gonna put them on a quarterly call plan. You're gonna bulk add them to the plan, but you're gonna do what's called a staggered start. In command, you can say, hey, I wanna only call 5 people a day. So when you go to add everyone to your smart plan, you say, put 5 people on this plan a day. Then tomorrow, you're gonna get a task to call 5 people. Who here can call 5 people today? Cool. And if you didn't call all 5, and you maybe only called 4, because you got distracted with something really important in your business. And then tomorrow, it gave you a list of 5 new people, and the one that you didn't call from yesterday, who here thinks they can call 6 tomorrow? Awesome. And then the next day, it's 5, and the next day, it's 5. Here's a big mistake that a lot of real estate agents do. They take those 2,000 contacts and they try to put all 2,000 on a quarterly call plan. We're gonna do some math. Who's got a calculator? Someone pull out your calculator. You all have a calculator, it's on your smartphone. Pull out your calculator and take 2,000 divided by 90. Because that's, you gotta call 2,000 people every 90 days, call them quarterly. What's that, 22.22? And you can't call 0.22 a person, so it's 23 people a day you're gonna have to talk to call 2,000 people every 90 days. Who here can call 23 people today? I bet most of you probably could. But if you knew you had to call 23 more people tomorrow, and 23 more people the next day, and 23 more people the next day, it starts feeling a little bit like a daunting task, am I right? Don't put such high expectations on yourself that you're gonna try to do a quarterly call with 2,000 people. Because here's the kicker. Who here takes a day off every single week? You should be,
Yeah.
maybe two. Okay, let's say that you take a day off. Now, all of a sudden, you didn't call 23 people. So how many do you have to call the next day? 46. Whoa. Let's say you go on a long weekend and you take a 3-day weekend and you don't make any calls. All of a sudden, now you got 140 people to call before you even catch up. The magic number is between 201 contacts and 350. If you isolate, if you identify about 300 contacts in your database of people you actually like talking to, and you put them on a quarterly call plan, all you have to do is take the number of contacts, let's say it's 300. Calculators, 300 divided by 90, 3.3, we gotta round up, so it's 4 people a day. Can we call 4 people a day? We all agree we could do 5. There we go, there's our magic number. Put 300 people on a quarterly call plan, stagger start for a day. Now, every single day, you're just gonna open up your phone and on your home screen, it's gonna say, you have 4 tasks to do inside Command. Because you have the Command app on your smartphone. And then you're just gonna tap it and it's gonna show you the 4 people you gotta call. And then all you do is hit the call button and there's a dialer built in. It rings them right from your own cell phone. And then you have the conversation. And then when you're done with the conversation, it's going to Command app, it's gonna be up on your phone, and it's gonna say, it looks like you just called Bob, would you like to log that interaction? You're gonna say yes. And then it's gonna say, would you like to add notes? Here's the big thing. Do not, and I repeat, do not skip this part. What you're gonna do is tap into the description, and do not do this either. Do not start tapping with your thumbs to everything that you talked about. Instead, use technology the way it's designed to be used. Hit the little microphone and just talk into your phone what you talked about. Then when you're done, you hit save and you now have a log of everything. Remember at the beginning, I said the human brain is an inadequate vessel of information. We suck at remembering things. This is why technology is awesome. But it only works if you use it. Make the call and then log the interaction. If they said that their dog Lucky got hit by a car, put that in the notes. And then ask them why their dog's named Lucky.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah. I'm gonna say another thing that's controversial. I'm a cat person. You give it to me. Call them and then log the interaction. Works. Okay, now, let's say that you need to call 4 people today. What do you say? Let's talk. If you were to call 4 people today because Command told you to call them, what would you say to them?
I would think of you.
What's that?
I would think of you.
I was thinking of you, fantastic. I would start with hello. I was thinking about you, fantastic. Then what would you say? I recommend you start with a question. Well, start with hello, I was thinking of you, that's great. Then I'd get them with a question. What's a great question to ask? If you haven't talked to them in at least 90 days. What's great?
Family.
Family, that's a good question. I would do that as the second question.
How was your summer?
How was your summer? Perfect. Here's an easy one. Ready? This works for everybody all the time. How are you? Write it down. Seriously. How are you? And then just sit back and listen. Make notes of what they talk about. Then you're gonna ask them a follow-up question. I loved it. How's your family? Sit back, listen. And then you're gonna hit them with a third question. This is the most important question. You need to write this down. How's work? Why is that the most important question?
We're gonna ask you.
The law of reciprocity says that if you ask them how work's gonna go, they're gonna say, how's work for you? What did they just give you permission to talk about?
Real estate.
That's right.
That's the purpose of this conversation.
That's right.
However, that's not why you're calling. You're calling to check in. It's a care call. If you're gonna call them every 90 days, you can't call and say, who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? If you do that every 90 days, guess who's gonna start ignoring your phone calls? 280 of the 300. Instead, how are you? How's the family? How's work? And then when they say work's great, you're gonna bring up something that they've talked about when you ask them how they work. Or how's the family, or how's work? Maybe they just said that they got transferred. And they ask you how's work, you're gonna say, you know what? You probably remember I'm in real estate and it is a fascinating market right now. Earlier you mentioned that you got transferred for work. I have realtors all across the country that could help you out. Where are you moving to? They give you permission to talk about it. What you're listening for is what we call the 5 Ds of the Ford method. Who can tell me one of the 5 Ds?
Death.
Death, bingo. If they say anything about death, make note of it, because you might bring it up when they ask you about work. I heard a second one, divorce. Death and divorce, those are 2 of the Ds that constitute a life event that might cause them to need you as a realtor. Death, divorce. Diapers.
Diapers.
Death, divorce, diapers. What does diapers mean? New baby, new grandbaby? Oh, not only babies wear diapers, who else wear diapers? Aging parents? Absolutely. Could that constitute a real estate need? Bingo. Death, divorce, diapers. Who's got another one? Here's one, diamonds. New engagement, new marriage, real estate events. Disease is a good one. It's not the one of the 5 Ds, but it's absolutely, it's real.
What did you think?
The appointment? Deployment. Deployment's a good one. I love it. Death, divorce, diapers, diamonds. Here it is. Diplomas.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking for high school graduations, empty nesters, college graduations, boomerang kids. Now the empty nesters all of a sudden need another bedroom because their kids coming back from college. Diplomas can also be a promotion at work or retirement at work, all real estate loans. The purpose of the quarterly call, when you stagger those with about 300 contacts, is just call them every 90 days. How are you? How's the family? How's work? Listen for the 5 Ds and literally log the conversation. Just do that. Just do that. It works. Now, okay, yes, Bruce.
Zach, just, is there a way, I'm not actively working with buyers and sellers.
Oh.
But with command and with the tickler that comes out, your 4 days that you're supposed to call, is there a way for staggering the day of the month where they're gonna come up on your list? Because one of the things, I have a friend who I was on his tickler list, and I knew.
And he always called you on like the first of the month?
He's gonna call me, and it actually started to irritate me.
Yeah,
Because I considered him more of a business person than a friend.
yeah. That's a really cool insight. I've never had that question come up. If you use the quarterly call plan, it's gonna do every 90 days. So it's gonna be a different day of the week. Consistently, because it's every 90 days. However, if you really want to make sure that it's more staggered, here's what I would do. I would make your own custom smart plan and just do a phone call task every 88 days. Because I think that might stagger it a little bit better. And then over throughout the year, you're gonna get Mondays, Tuesdays, it's gonna be early in the month, it's gonna get in the middle of the month. I think if you did that, or even did like 75 days or 110 days, that would stagger it, and you could just do a custom smart plan with that. Yeah, that's an awesome one.
So we set our working days as well. So
Uh-huh.
Monday through Friday for the agents.
Yep,
That also push out the 90 days on different days, because if it fell on a Saturday or Sunday, it pushed them out. The call, the task.
got it. So you did that with lead rules. Okay,
So how hard is it to do a custom smart plan?
so easy. Up at the top right of smart plans, you just hit custom,
Uh-huh.
and then it's gonna ask you what you wanna do. You're just gonna grab a phone call, put it there, and then you're gonna add a delay of however many days, hit save, and you're done.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the solution. Okay, now, let's say that the smart plan tells you to call someone tomorrow, and you haven't talked to this person in 6 years. And you just called them up and said, hey, how are you? How's the family? How's work? That could be a little weird. So, ready? Here's the conversation you have with that person. It completely changes everything. Ready? Hey, Bob, I haven't talked to you in like, it feels like 6 years. And I just want to apologize. I made a commitment to stay in touch with the people that matter to me. How are you? That's it. Just acknowledge the fact that you haven't talked to them in a while, and then you have an intention to stay in touch with the people that matter to you. Is that a cool conversation?
Yeah, yeah.
It's easy.
I knew I needed something. It's been a while.
All right, your next smart plan is the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. I know that one's at the top, but I always like talking about what do we call plan first. Bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, you should put everyone in your database on this smart plan. All you need is their email and a neighborhood associated with their contact card. The good news is, if you have their address, which you should, you're in real estate, if you have their address, the AI will just put them in the neighborhood that they live in. But you can add them to additional neighborhoods. What this does is every 2 weeks, it's gonna send them an email with a market report for their neighborhood. How many houses are for sale in their neighborhood? What's the average days on market, average price per square foot? Average sales price, and it's gonna show them a list of homes that have come up for sale. Like if their neighbor's house comes up for sale, it's send an email from you. It automates it. Everyone should be on that plan. It takes a little work, because you gotta make sure that they have a neighborhood. But trust me when I say it's gonna take you maybe 3 hours to do this for the first time. You're gonna sit down with a bottle of wine or water or whatever it is you wanna do, sit at your computer and just go to every contact and put them in a neighborhood. Better yet, put them in 3 or 4 neighborhoods. Before I said, put them in the neighborhood they live in, or if you have their address, it automatically does it. What other neighborhoods do people care about? Real estate. If they've got kids, do they care about their kids' investment? Absolutely, put them in their kids' neighborhood. If they have an aging parent, put them in that neighborhood. They're probably, chances are, in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, they're gonna have to help them sell the house and keep them up to date with what's going on there. What are some other neighborhoods? What if they own an investment property? Do you think they care about home values of the neighborhood of that investment property? Put them in that neighborhood. Now, how do you figure out what these neighborhoods are? Follow them, ask them. Say, hey, I've got really cool technology that's gonna keep you up to date in the neighborhoods that matter to you. What neighborhoods matter to you? And they're gonna tell you about an investment property you didn't even know they have. Awesome conversation. If they're really good friends, you probably knew where they grew up. In fact, they might have grown up with you. Go put them in the neighborhood they grew up in. That way, when their old childhood home comes up for sale, it's in an email from you. Whether they grew up in Overland Park, Kansas, Oklahoma, or Orlando, Florida. Because you're with Keller Williams, you have access to 97% of the listings across the United States and Canada and 55 other countries. Awesome. And it just automates it. Now, let's say that you get an email from me, and in the email shows your old childhood home has come up for sale. What's the likeliness that you're gonna buy that house, percentage-wise? Let's call it 0. It might be 0.5%. Are you gonna buy your old childhood house? Probably not. Now, let me ask you another question. If you got an email from me and your old childhood house came up for sale and it was in that email, what's the likeliness that you're gonna click on that? Let's call it 90, 95, 99%. That's the goal. When they think of real estate, you want them thinking about you. You can't do that unless you automate these things. The bi-weekly neighborhood nurture shows you exactly how to do that. You also have the birthday smart plan and the home anniversary plan. These are 2 great smart plans that just keep you in touch with people. In order to use the home anniversary plan, you need to know what? The home anniversary date.
Right.
Yep, you're gonna put that in the contact record, and now every single year, it's gonna remind you 5 days before their anniversary to send them a card. Happy home anniversary. It's a made-up holiday for realtors. It's awesome. And then on their home anniversary, it's gonna remind you to call them and wish them a happy home anniversary. The birthday one, this is awesome. It tells you to send them a card 5 days before. Do it. Don't skip it. And then on their birthday, actually the day before their birthday, the happy birthday smart plan will remind you to call them. Now you have a day to call them. I recommend that you call them the day before their birthday. And you're gonna use this conversation with them. Ready? Stephen, it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Wow, thank you.
I know it's tomorrow, but everyone else is gonna call you tomorrow and I wanted you to feel special today. Happy birthday. Is that a better conversation than calling them when everyone else is calling them tomorrow? Yeah. Now, if you wanna call them on their birthday, cool. But let's say you don't call them on their birthday, you don't call them the day before, call them the day after, and you're gonna completely change the conversation, right? Stephen, hey, it's your birthday, just kidding. That was yesterday, but everyone else called you yesterday and I wanted you to feel special today. Happy birthday. It's developing mind share by being different. The quarterly call plan also reminds you on the day of their birthday to go on Facebook and wish them a happy birthday there, because apparently if you don't wish somebody a happy birthday on Facebook, it didn't happen. The smart plan knows that. They even send a text message on their birthday that says happy birthday from your favorite neighborhood realtor, Zach. Of course, it's not gonna say your favorite neighborhood realtor, Zach. It's gonna say whatever you want that text to say when you download the smart plan. Okay, last thing I'm gonna show you, and then we're gonna get you guys to lunch. How do you leverage the actual smart plans? Just look up at the screen. And we're going to do our best to get this on, oh my gosh, that works. Agent.kw.com, and then you're gonna log in. You might be wondering, what's my username? It's probably your first initial last name. If you don't know, that's okay, go to your leadership team, they can look it up for you. And then your password is probably the same as mine. Right? Asterisk, 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 asterisk. When you're going to add people to a smart plan, you need to know which smart plan. So you're gonna go into the smart plan library, and you're gonna go to the library, and you're gonna download the plans you need. All of the ones I recommended are right here in the Keller Williams section. So when I click on Keller Williams, there's the biweekly neighborhood nurture. All you have to do is hit add smart plan. There's the quarterly call plan, add smart plan. Now, if you go to add it and it won't let you do it, that just means you already have the smart plan. Then you keep going down, there's a monthly neighborhood nurture, there's the home anniversary, and the birthday smart plan is right there. Just download those smart plans, and then all you do is inside of contacts, you just have to find the contacts that you want to add to the plan. Let's say you're using the biweekly neighborhood nurture. What I would do is I would say, show me 500 of my contacts. And then you hit this little bulk selector right there. It's gonna select all 500. And you're gonna say, add to smart plan. I'll do that again because it went quick. This little drop down under actions, after I do bulk selector, I'm gonna hit action, add to smart plan. And then I'm gonna choose the nurture smart plan. There's my biweekly neighborhood nurture. It's gonna ask me, all right, it looks like we have some errors. In other words, you're missing neighborhoods, phone numbers, or birthdays, or whatever it is you're missing. Do you want to remove them or add them anyway? Do whichever one makes sense to you. For the biweekly neighborhood nurture, start them all right now. Just get it out there and then go to the next 500 and add them to the smart plan. But remember, for the quarterly call plan, if you select 300 contacts that you actually like talking to, all you're gonna do is select staggered start, and then you're gonna do the math. You're gonna take the number, 300, whatever that number is for you, divide by 90 and round up. If it's 4 a day, 5 a day, 3 a day, whatever that number is, and then hit confirm. And that stagger start is gonna start those smart plans exactly how you want to start them.
Right.
I see your hand, what's up?
Okay, so I just saw missing neighborhood, missing neighborhood, missing neighborhood.
Yes.
I'm adding them to a smart plan by monthly neighborhood.
Yep.
How do I know, what neighborhood are they getting?
They're not getting anything. So if they're missing the neighborhood, it doesn't make sense to put them in the smart plan.
Right, so, or you need to go in there and give them a neighborhood.
That's exactly right. You can literally just, instead of adding the smart plan, click on the first contact, see if they're in the neighborhood. If that one is, hit next contact, and then add them. Next contact, add them to the neighborhood, next contact. And if you don't know who they are, or where they're from, just put them in the neighborhood that you find people like looking at.
That's what I do. I put them in neighborhoods like.
If you meet them at an open house, put them in the neighborhood where you
Yeah,
have them.
that's the open house. Absolutely done that.
Just works. In your slides, you've got some action items on what to do. We've talked about all of these. It's time to eat, and I don't want to take any more of your time because I've already gone a little bit over. Did you find value in this conversation?
Yeah.
here's what we need. I need at least 3 ahas. What's the one thing that you're gonna take from this conversation and change in the way that you're doing business?
Absolutely.
Stop looking at it and just do something.
Hang on, Nora.
Yes.
Me
That's-
too.
That's really.
Who else has an aha, different aha?
You made it less daunting.
Oh,
I
cool.
agree.
You did.
Is that you? Yeah.
I like that we can stagger it. I've been in situations where I had multiple on there, and like you said, I just looked at it. Yeah, I bet that.
Easy task, you can bulk, mark is complete, or bulk, mark, right, stop it. Take them all out of the smartphone, and start it all over with the backer side. Absolutely. Love it. All right, friends, go out there, take
Thank
more
you.
territory, talk to the people you need to talk to, use Smart Plan. Have lunch, make sure to thank your incredible lunch sponsor and sell some of those houses.
And we don't have to, I don't forget, closer committee meeting, one
Closure committee?
1:30. Yeah, 1:30. Yeah, 1:30.
Great job.
Thank you.
And then
Right along. You want that back here?
Nothing calling you.
No, you did that.
I've seen her in a while.